Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword.
Hi, I'm Jean.
And I'm Mike. And today we're doing the crossword for Sunday, June 8th, 2025. So, did you do the crossword?
I did do the crossword.
And did it do you in?
It did not do me in.
Really?
No.
How did you find it compared to Saturdays?
I think it was easier than Saturdays.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, it's bigger.
It is bigger. It's bigger. It's better. Well, not necessarily better, but bigger.
And I did have errors, which were a little tricky to find, but I found them eventually. Mm-hmm. And got it solved.
Well, good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I found it to be quite challenging because I did not understand at all what was going on with the theme.
Oh.
And so I had 8 places where I did not have answers.
Oh, dear.
And there were lots of other places where I didn't have answers either.
Yes. I figured it out fairly quickly in the top part of the puzzle.
Right.
So then the rest of it I knew was, what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped a lot.
Yeah, so I started this crossword when I was too tired, and then eventually started to wake up as I was working on it.
Oh.
Hour after hour will do that to you. And
you didn't spend more than hour after hour.
Oh, I spent more than an hour.
Well, maybe.
And as and also, of course, what happens is as more the grid fills in, mm-hmm. you have more of a chance of finding another answer.
Right.
But at first I was just like, this is ridiculous. And then eventually I was able to sort of drive my way through, and I'm just like, oh, I got a little bit more. Oh, I'm almost finished. Mm. But for the longest time, I was trying to do what I was doing on Thursday and just sort of pretend there wasn't a theme and just sort of ignore it. Uh-huh. But I really couldn't.
No, you had to kind of know what was going on there.
So let's talk about that, because I think that's the major feature of this crossword.
Oh, definitely. Well, the puzzle was unique to look at when you first opened it up, because there were 2 rows, and if you looked at the clues for those rows, none of the answers had clues to them. They just had dashes.
Right.
And each of these rows had 4 sets of 4 answers, each 4 squares long. They were running horizontally through the puzzle. So you'd have 4 squares and then black squares, 4 squares and black, 4 black, 4 black. So, and within those black squares, there were magnets, horseshoe magnets, with the poles facing outward, facing to the east and the west. And the curvy part of the horseshoe was back to back. And so you had 2 sets of those within these 2 lines. And then if you went to the revealer, that really helped me a lot. 108 across, powerful force of attraction on display in this puzzle. And the answer to that was animal magnetism. And the reason that helped me is I'm going to go through an example, and it'll show you what I'm talking about. If you went, let's just take 14 down. Oh, no, not 14 down. 18 down, because that's where I figured out what was going on. 18 down was in the upper right corner of the puzzle. And the clue was church, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was just
church.
Mm-hmm.
It was just church.
Just church. Well, if you started doing the acrosses, you got the word house going down. So I thought, it's got to be house of God. But you didn't have enough squares for that. So you had enough squares for house of, and that F was at the end of one of those 4 squared answers that didn't have an answer, or didn't have a clue. And at the beginning of it was a magnet. So you had to go sideways with the rest of your answers. So you had house of, and then you had to put God horizontally on that empty or clueless 4 line or 4 square answer. And because it was a magnet that was pulling it, you had to write it in backwards. So you had house of going along the very right hand side of the puzzle, and then God going into the interior of the puzzle toward the magnet. And so God became dog because you were, writing it backwards. So animal magnetism told me that you were going to have to turn corners with some of the answers, and the place where you turned the corner, or those clueless 4-letter answer grids, there would be an animal in it. So house of God became house of dog, and so dog was the answer in that one. Another one was one down, which was one of my favorites. What Jason Momoa has, notably, I'm like, whoa, what could that be? It turned out to be abs of steel, but going one down, you only had enough room for abs of an ST, and that T landed in the first square of the one of those 4 clueless answers, and so you put TEEL going horizontally, and you hit one of those magnets. So TEEL has the animal eel in it. So that was the theme. And the name of the puzzle was Meeting Their Match, which really didn't give you a whole lot to go on. Mm-hmm. But if you got the revealer, animal magnetism, to me that helped a lot, because I thought, well, it's going to have something with an animal, and those magnets are going to be a part of that. And so that was the theme.
Well, the other thing about meeting their match was when you had like the one down, you had abs of steel, that the teal of steel ran into rats, and that was from 9 down, and 9 down was Jason Statham or Sylvester Stallone was an action star.
Right.
So you've got the abs of steel and the action star. So those were sort of two, I figured those were meeting. And
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And likewise, you had like the house of God, and that ran into, we had from 10 down, churchgoer was a congregant. So you had the congregant and the house of God. So so it was actually those full answers were sort of being matched up.
They were, yes. Congregant, of course, the animal of that was an ant, because you had enough letters going down for congreg. And then A and T had to go sideways toward the magnet.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, and with 54 down was colorful feature of a lawn was green grass, and that rass of grass was pulled to the right. And then coming from 58 down, you had ground cover plant with trailing vines and 5-petaled flowers was periwinkle, and so you had the periwinkle being pulled into the green grass.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, you got elk out of that periwinkle,
right.
Ass out of the green grass. Yeah, that's true. So I guess maybe those are the matches that you're meeting.
Yeah, the animals really didn't have much in common. And someone on Wordplay was lamenting this fact. It's just like, what, you've got an ass meeting an elk and an owl meeting a gnu? And I'm like, come on, give them a break.
Yeah, the next one there was 60 down, which was... that was, Japanese dish, right?
Yes, that was noodle bowl.
Japanese restaurant order was noodle bowl. So noodle B was going down, and then going across toward the magnet was OWL for owl. And that was paired with 64 down, which was a Chinese restaurant order. And that turned out to be egg foo young.
Yes.
And you had enough room for the egg foo and the Y going down, and then you had the rest of young, which was UNG, going backwards toward the magnet, which of course is a new. So you had owl and new noodle bowl, egg foo young. So yeah, very clever.
Yes, this was by John Kugelman, so we would expect it to be clever.
Yeah, he does.
He does
a good job.
He's just been cranking them out. I mean, he just did this one, and then at the end of May, he did one for Thursday, and then in the middle of April, he had a Sunday out. So he's just been really prolific.
Yeah. Wonderful.
And but I had trouble everywhere in the grid. Like
there were challenges everywhere for me too, but I eventually got got it all filled in.
It's like five across some hotel check-in areas. So I thought, well, it has to be front desks.
I put desk.
Except I only had 5 letters. And then I decided it was going to be kiosk, because you might check in at a kiosk. But it does say some hotel check-in areas.
Yeah, that had to be a plural.
Right. Yeah, listeners, for those of you who are relatively new at crosswords, if you see a plural in the clue, it's got to be plural in the answer.
Right.
I didn't know the one next to it, the singer Cruz, known as the Queen of Salsa, was Celia Cruz.
Right. Well, the check-in was atria.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I eventually got that from the crosses there.
Did you know Celia?
I kind of knew Celia. I was thinking it was Delia, but then it turned out, to be Celia. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Celia sounds much more conventional.
Yes.
11 down, actor Omar. I just know, I did not know the correct answer. That was Omar Epps.
That's correct.
And I'm pretty sure we've seen that multiple times in the past.
That's been in the crossword several times.
Yeah, maybe another 100 and it'll probably sink in here. For 13 down, it was part of MIT, ABRA, and it could have been Mass, it could have been Inst, it could have been Tech. Mm-hmm. Turned out to be Inst in this case.
That's right.
And I
guessed Inst.
Did you?
I did.
Oh,
yes.
Nice job.
Because, I thought it was Delia, so I thought, Inst.
Right.
So I thought the one next to it was interesting. 14 down. It says literally panting in Greek, and that answer was asthma.
Yes. Close to that, we had 16 down. Spider-Man's lightning-wielding foe was Electro.
That's right.
Which I didn't really remember.
Oh, I did.
Did you? Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. Good.
I didn't know the one next to it, 16 down, or 15 down, which was, literary fairy queen, Mab.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what literary work that's from.
Shakespeare.
Oh, is it? Oh.
I think it might have been referenced in other places, but I'm pretty sure that's Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. We had 41 across. Gateway to the Amalfi coast was Salerno.
Right.
So there are now 2 places, both in the clue and the answer, that I don't know exactly where they are. Can you remind me where the Amalfi coast or Salerno is? Is that like in Spain or Portugal?
Spain, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We had 21 down. I have no idea who this person was either. There's a lot I did not know in this crossword. It was Gregory of Hollywood, Gregory Hines.
Yes.
Who's Gregory Hines?
He was a dancer.
Oh.
He was part of a group with his father and brother. I think they called it Hines, and Dad. And they were tap dancers.
I see.
Very talented dancers. But he was also an actor. And, was in several movies.
Boy, with a name like Hines, he should have gotten together with the ketchup people. Made a fortune. Different Hines, I guess so, yes. 22 across I thought was cute. That was, let's see here, Boxer's Diet maybe. And I was thinking eggs.
Yes.
But it was Alpo.
Right.
Different kind of boxer.
Yeah, that sort of threw me too. But
51 across I found to be staggeringly difficult. Share cleanup duty in a way. So I got to the word co, and it was like co-wash, co-dry, but that didn't fit. Turned out to be co-edit.
Right. Cleanup and manuscript.
Yes. Yeah, that kind of cleanup.
Yep.
We had 66 across, and this sort of describes my experience with the crossword. Last one standing fights, battle royales.
Yes.
And I felt I was engaged in and losing to John Kugelman for much of this crossword.
Oh, no.
I liked 69 across. It was just 3 exclamation points, and the answer was OMG.
Right.
That was cute. Mm-hmm. And once again, I've forgotten how to spell 83 down. Big Fifth Avenue retailer was Saks.
Saks Fifth Avenue.
I wanted to spell it SAXS.
Oh, no.
But that would have been Saxes.
Like saxophone.
Right. Yeah. No, but I presume the plural of saxophone would actually be SAXES, right?
That is correct,
yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We had 88 down. That was tall, chic woman, glamazon.
Right.
What a great word.
Yes. And I was reading in Wordplay that actually came into being like back in the 1940s or something. They called very statuesque, beautiful women, glamazons.
As a portmanteau, it is quite classy.
Mm-hmm, yeah, I thought though it was something kind of modern, but no, it's got kind of a history to it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Let's see, 101 across, Guinness record holder for most words in a hit single, 1,560 in 6 minutes. And that was Eminem.
yes.
Okay, for bonus points, what was the name of the song?
I have no idea.
Rap God.
Rap God.
And he starts off with something sort of like some animation out of the 1980s. You know when they had Reagan in sort of an animated version of Reagan?
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
So I don't know how much that was him just singing or whether it was just, computer enhanced.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can probably talk or get 1,560 words in a 1 minute's conversation if I just crank up the speed enough.
Uh-huh.
So I'd like to know how they determined that was a world record. I mean, it was Guinness, so they ought to know.
Right. I'm trying to remember what that character's name was. It looked like Reagan, but I can't. It had a different name.
It was a very unusual name.
Yeah.
I want to say Flip Top or something. But
yeah, it was different. I don't know. We'll have to look that one up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or listeners, if you happen to remember, let us know. Crosswordpodcast at iCloud.com.
Yeah. And that was like some of the earliest computer.
It had the word head in it.
Oh, that's right.
Max Headroom.
Max Headroom. There we go.
Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm. Yep. I can't remember modern culture, but if it's ancient culture, I recall.
Uh-huh. Very good.
103 across was De Armas of Blade Runner 2049, and that was Anna.
Anna de Armas.
Which is ironic because there's a new movie out, John Wick Ballerina, and she's like the star of that.
Oh.
And I heard...
Play John Wick.
No, she plays with John Wick. I think he makes a cameo in it or something like that.
Oh.
Let's see.
I like the one kind of under that one, 114 across. It was
single-use binders.
Zip ties.
Boy, that took me forever.
Me too.
I really did not know what was going on there.
Right.
And it didn't help that I didn't know 104 down, Washington team to fans. So I thought it was maybe like the Washington Capitals.
Oh, no.
And then I decided it was the Washington Senators, so it was going to be the Sens.
No.
But it turned out to be the Washington Nationals.
That's right, yeah.
So.
Washington Senators are no more.
Really?
Yeah.
What, were they like overthrown in a coup or something?
No.
Or did they move? They became the Nationals?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why? They just didn't...
well, I mean, that was their baseball team. I don't know if it was the same team, if they just renamed it, but I do know that was Washington Senators. They went out a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then they resurrected a team in Washington, D.C. and called it the Nats.
I was listening to 107 down. The Thong Song singer from 2000 was Cisco.
Yes.
And I thought we could play a little bit, but 2 seconds into the song, I realized we couldn't.
Oh.
So it still was a pretty good song, but not suitable for...
Yeah, and that crossed with 121, which was a little bit of an attic for me because I had never heard of Cisco.
Right.
But 121 across, smallest discrete units of energy, quanta.
Yes.
So
an excellent...
I guess that's what it was because I've heard of like quantum physics. So I thought, well, I had all the letters except the Q, and so I put a Q in and it worked. So
isn't that an airline in Qantas? There we go.
That's the Australian airline.
Yeah,
yes.
That's the plural of Quanta. The Qantas. No, I think it's U.S. Right? Quantus.
No, it's AS.
Oh, it is AS. Okay.
Qantas.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We had 124 across. The captain's rear was aft.
Mm-hmm.
Thought that was sort of cute.
Mm-hmm. I also liked 56 down. Show me. And I knew right away it was, I want to see.
Oh, really?
That's what it was.
Wow.
I want to see.
Nice. We had 63 down. This was a challenge for me. Part of a retirement title, Emeritus.
Right.
That took me a long time. Mm-hmm. I was like, retired major, general, brigadier, something or other, but nope, it was just emeritus.
Nope, just like college professors, emeritus. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we had 19 across. Break slangily was bork.
Yes.
And I've just been reading the book Murderbot as I'm watching the series Murderbot. And they had the word bork like in almost the very first page of the book.
Really?
Yeah, so it's just like, oh, I just heard that. So
I had never heard that as a word.
Or
break.
I think it might be related to when they had that Supreme Court Justice Bork, and he just got his nomination was sort of sabotaged. I think that might be how it became break slangily. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah.
Yeah, I remember Robert Bork, it was.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, never made it onto the court.
Nope. Okay, I think that is it for today.
Okay.
So thanks everyone for listening.
Yes.
Please send us feedback if you've got a chance and a reason to do so. crosswordpodcast@icloud.com or click on the send fan mail link.
Yes.
We will be back again with our cutting edge analysis of tomorrow's crossword tomorrow.
Bye-bye.